Hey all, live from Bulgaria. I've got one that just came out from Crypto Rich, and we had a great conversation with retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt, and we expose what's really going on behind the trans movement and a lot of other society undermining stuff that's going after our kids. So we know who it is now, we know how to push back. Enjoy.
The Epstein files, that's the gift that keeps on giving. Tuesday, the 17th of February, and more exposures keep rolling out, and there's more to come. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and you'll find all the links to the guests in the description below. Hey, Blaine. Hey, Ivor. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for making yourself available. This is the first time both of you have been together in the same Zoom room, so it's a world exclusive. So everybody, please subscribe, comment, like, and follow both of these fine gentlemen. And Ivor, I'm going to start with you because you put out a really great short video about, I think, was it the top 10 facts or something about the Epstein files?
Oh yeah, I decided I'd just jump in. It was topical and I'd seen a few things that got my attention. So I keep it really brief without fully referencing anything. But the first one I put, because it's something I feel fairly strongly about, is this subversive trans ideological nonsense. It's there, I think, to weaken society like most of the
Yes.
other strategies of the globalist horde. But this guy, Professor Robert Trivers from Harvard, he's been kicked out of his college, I think, back in 2013. Big friends with Epstein, apparently. And he also went on the record in a major publication and said, you know, this thing about under 16 sex, I'll paraphrase him here. He said, you know, it's like decades or hundreds of years ago, that wasn't such a big deal. And kids are advancing so quickly now. It's not a biggie, you know. So he's that type of guy, yeah. But he was in letters with Epstein and he was pushing the transgender stuff. Now, since I made this, Trivers came out with a load of absolute filth in his emails, you know, talking about women with you know what and all kinds of sex acts. So a complete pervert, right? But he was talking about transgender with Epstein. Now, since I did this, there's a lot more because Sayer G, I think it's Green Health Info or Green Med Info, a really good guy. He's done a deeper dive into the transgender, and there's a lot more discussion. And Epstein was very interested in funding the transgender stuff that Trivers could work on. So it's just another thing that I put on my root cause diagram of globalist utopia that they'd like. And then I put all the strategies like CBDC and the war on farmers and the COVID flu. But of course, trans is in there, and all these strategies achieve various goals. But one thing that's common to all the strategies is all of them also weaken society. It's like a
Yeah.
bonus for every strategy,
Yeah.
right? And that's what the trans one's about. It's to mess up society, attack the family unit, erode history and tradition, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. But I thought it was interesting to see that in the Epstein files, but completely unsurprising.
Yes, that's really good. I think if there's anything that the three of us are absolutely certain about, and I might be speculating here, and if I've got this wrong about both of you or either of you, let me know. But the three of us are entirely certain that we're men.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's the case for both of you. I'm really clear that I'm a man.
Yeah, it's not even close. Yeah, definitely. I even know the man
I,
song. Men, 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 men. There. See?
hey, I go further. The three of us and all your other guests, I think, Rich, I think we're really good role models as men as well.
There you go.
No,
There you
let's
go.
let's take that
Well
mantle
played,
as
well
well.
played. Like this.
Yeah, but if I get so confused that I don't know whether I'm a man or a woman, then I'm easily led. If I lose sight of that
Yeah.
anchor of reality, then it's
Then
like,
you're a
well,
weapon.
yeah,
Then you're a weapon.
well, I'm
Yeah.
confused. I'm easily manipulated. I'll dye
Yep.
my hair blue.
But you can be weaponized.
Say more about that,
Yeah.
Blaine.
And
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, just really briefly, I did a 90-minute. I'm doing a mentoring session in coaching and psychology in a very large psychology group. And the guy who heads that up explains in no uncertain terms. One of his biggest topics is our identity, our
Mm.
self. It's very important. And our personality is how we are to the world, but our identity is who we are. And it's a really important thing for mental strength, resilience, and to be an upstanding, productive, future focused human. The center of his stuff is identity. It's so important. And he repeatedly brings up this example. He said, we have an absolute catastrophe because if people, young people, are identifying with something as ridiculous as their genitalia and their sexual preference or gender, he said that is corrosive beyond belief.
But it's
You
worse
know?
than that, Ivor. It's not even their own genitalia. It's somebody else's genitalia.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
It's outrageous.
it's not
And
the
the
genitalia
guys
in.
who drive this nonsense and the Pritzkers who set up a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
foundation to drive trans, and
Yep.
of course, the Epstein and the other fella I mentioned, they know exactly what they're doing
Yeah.
because they're pretty well up in psychology and group psychology and the masses, and they know how to ruin them. That's the terrifying
How
thing.
do you create a zombie army that will do any damn thing you want? And it starts because a lot of these urchins get their design and strategies, as Ivor well knows, out of Silicon Valley. And the way that they look at the world is there's software, hardware, and firmware. And those types of things start once you get the kid into a state-run public school. And so once that happens, now what you're doing is erasing any semblance of the hard drive, any semblance of the software that the mom and dad put into that kid, and in many cases just the mom if it's a single parent home. And so when they do that, they start with very happy, fun little games that are seemingly innocent that then lead into gender dysphoria, that then lead into attention deficit disorder and Ritalin drugs and those types of things. Now you've got the hard drive erased. Now it's ready for download. And when you download, you get into the gender confusion. You admonish the parents. The school is your friend, not your parents. And what that does is once you've gone through the gender surgery, we see the effects here in the United States. Almost every single active shooter in this country in the last 3 years has been because of a transgender person. And back to my point, they can summon this army anytime they want because these legions are looking for a love and acceptance that they've never found because, like the movie Frankenstein, it was never put into them. And so what do? They get paid by these NGOs that we pay our tax dollars into. It gets whitewashed into these Soros-funded NGOs and other NGOs like it. And then they go ahead and make these donations to say, you need your voice. You need to stand up against ICE or any type of immigration activity or anybody defending cultural rights in Europe or whatever it is.
Or
We know it's all
Christianity.
or Christianity. It's all centrally authorized and scripted. That's what makes it a City of London affair. And how do we know that? Because the exact same things are happening all across the entire Western civilization, with the United States being a few steps behind simply because Trump is trying to push it back. But make no mistake, this is a tidal wave. It is on purpose. These urchins grow up to be paid, and these are the ones you see getting shot in the streets here in the States because somebody told them it was a good idea to run a car into a police officer with a gun. And so what you're doing is creating a zombie army, is what I call them, because they've been abused, had their hard drives erased, new software in, and now they're weaponized and they'll go do any damn thing they're told.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that phrase, zombie army. That's exactly it. They're destroying them, erasing them, and programming them with varying degrees of madness.
Yeah, absolutely. And then an experienced social worker told me a couple of years ago, way more experienced than me, and I'm pretty experienced, said that most of these young people that want to transition either have an autism spectrum disorder and or they've been sexually abused. They're
Yeah.
so confused about themselves.
Or the system just picked them up and grabbed them.
Don't know.
Yeah.
It's more like well, maybe right. But I'm just saying what
Well,
he
because
said.
in the United States, it's a states example, right? So you've got states like California, Oregon, Washington, where they're literally going after parents' rights and taking a perfectly healthy child and telling the parent, you're going to lose custody of this kid if you tell us one more time how you want to run your household. And so it's a very dangerous thing. And
Yeah.
if you look at the COVID vaccine experience, it was just basically probing, testing, seeing how far they could push the parents, seeing how far they could take this thing. But now it's gotten to a real dangerous place. It's destroying lives, and again, it's common. It's common across the world. Canada now is taking it even a step further, and this is the sickest thing of all. You have a baby. The baby doesn't seem to be responding to its APGAR test the right way. Maybe its reflexes aren't so good. They're just going to euthanize the kid. I'm going to take him out right
No,
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
yeah, yeah. They're doing it now. They're doing it now. They're taking down kids. Hey, lady, your kid showing signs that maybe autism is going to show up later in life. The state has made the decision your child is not viable.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
horrific.
bad. Canada is leading the field in an astonishing manner. And
Yeah.
funny you should say that. Just now, this evening, I was chatting to my wife, and what came up on some news feed, there's a threesome, a gay set of men, okay, and they've adopted a baby.
Yeah.
And now Canada judges, you couldn't make this up. They're actually looking at a problem that they apparently have to resolve by changing the law because technically the baby only has two parents who can be parents who have rights over the baby. And they're looking into how they can change it so three men can share the parental rights of the baby. We have reached peak Soros, peak madness. I mean, people need to wake up, and I think a lot of parents and a lot of the young generation, there is some hope, I think, because a lot of the young generation are now beginning to realize intuitively a lot of this stuff we're talking about is kind of nonsense. Now, maybe not enough of them, but certainly in Ireland we're seeing somewhat of a pushback from the younger
Yeah.
generation against this madness.
I think that's where Gen Z and Gen X get to commonality and alignment of purpose. On Gen
Mm.
X, we didn't take shit from anybody. Our parents didn't even know they had kids. We were out in the yards playing, drank from garden hoses, and with my plastic gun, I could take down an entire battalion in an afternoon. You just
Didn't
needed to
you?
see it.
Didn't you kill
But
everybody in your street with your
of course I
plastic
did.
gun?
Oh, I
Yeah.
absolutely didn't. And then whoever didn't get killed got locked up in my rhododendron bush. But the other side is Gen Z. Gen Z looks to us for mentorship now because now they're starting to wake up themselves and go, I I was ripped off. I believed everything they said in the damn school. I took a $250,000 loan to have a worthless piece of paper that says I'm good at women's studies. And I can't get a job anywhere and I can't buy a house. Meanwhile, the kid who had the lights turned on down the street who went to welder school is dragging down $90,000 a year and he's got a house and a kid. What happened? So they're pissed. But
Yeah.
that's an advantage to us because we need to be open arms with that generation, like you've heard EM say up and down twice the other to say, hey, we get it. So apparently us graybeards, we weren't the bad guys. You might want to go get yourself a bourbon, sit down, let's have a chat and see what we can
Hey,
do.
we're
What
the
I want to do after I put E.M. Burlingame's The Art of Being a Man book in their hands is for all of them to put some of Carl Jung's books in their hands so that they can understand what was done to them, one, and two, that once you have woken up, it's impossible to go to sleep. It's a physical impossibility. You will wake up and you will be stunned at the unconscious people in front of you and you feel furious because there's nothing you can do about it. But that's why people will look at a lot of awake people and go, "Oh, they're so quiet. They keep to themselves. They're this, they're that." No, they can't. They can't handle the script with Crazy Town because they woke up. And
now.
like Carl Jung really proved, once you're there, man, you can't crawl back into that cocoon.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
on a positive point, hopefully longer term, all of these people will be less quiet and realize it behooves them. It's
Exactly.
kind of their duty to
Yes.
step up and begin to fix the problem. And then
I
you'll
think
see
that's Gen
these
X's duty as
armies.
leaders. I think that's our duty as leaders is not only do we need to wake up as many as we possibly can, but and pick the lions first, please, because the sheep are really a pain in the ass. But that's the group I call soy boys. But we this is where the fight is, and they have a way big head start on us, like by hundreds of years. The good thing is they sent us to two fruitless, stupid wars. I mean, there's many others, but if you think of the stupidest wars, Iraq and Afghanistan, 17 million veterans in America, we're pissed off. We're pissed off. What was this about? What was this about? When was this going to end? Okay, we went and roughed up the Taliban for a few years. Shouldn't we have stopped it there? And if not, what was it about? Well, now we are in our awakened state. We're looking out at our young ones going, oh, well, let me tell you about government lies.
Yeah. And my son actually sent me originally the movie. It's around 50 minutes. I'm sure you're familiar. All wars are bankers' wars.
Yes, yes.
And I have shared it many times
Yeah.
since. Regularly, every 6 months, I share it again for a new audience.
Right.
That's exactly right.
And that's at fatemperor.com, I assume, Ivor.
You mainly my YouTube. I think you look up. I think it's Ivor Cummins Science. But either way, yeah. And Facebook and of course X is very good now to embed videos like that and keep getting circulation.
Yep, yep. Okay. Well, the craziness is in Ireland and in the UK, where they're promoting the trans agenda within schools. In the UK, there's a bill going through Parliament now, the Children and Wellbeing Bill, and one of the aspects of it is that it would pretty much prevent home education. Parents who want to home educate their kids, like I did, end up going to prison if you don't send your kids to school.
Right.
And then the government have just issued new guidance, which means that children as young as 4 years old at school can be encouraged
Yes.
to transition without
Yes.
the parents' consent. Now,
Right.
that is a violation of the 1989 Children's Act, which says that the paramount and overriding concern is the welfare of the child.
Rich, they don't care about any of that. They don't care about
No.
any of that.
Okay.
Quite the opposite.
But it's a violation of natural law as well.
Yeah,
And God's
that's against the law.
Oh, right.
Damn, the law again.
No,
There's
one of the-
gambling in the casino?
Yeah,
What?
no, but here's the irony, because Keir Stasi is saying at the same time we need to prevent children under 16 having access to social media because we need to keep them safe.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay, wait a minute. They can be
The schools will keep them safe, Rich. The schools will keep them safe. They're worried about the truth through X reaching them.
no.
So
Stop it,
the
you're so
schools will keep
cynical.
them
Government
safe.
is good. Such
Yeah.
a
But the
conspiracy general
thing-
you are.
the way
George
the
Orwell
way
has
these
inhabited you.
yeah, these psychopaths. I mean, I was delighted when I got Joe Plummer's Tragedy in Hope 101, and to really realize the longer history of the network of essentially psychopathic type people, banksters running the show. But always accuse your enemy of what you yourself are
Yes.
actually doing.
Yep.
So everything is opposites day. And it took me a little while, there was COVID flu. And then I began to look up stuff, geopolitics, began to understand about the WEF, the Rockefeller families over the years, and eventually the network. But at first it was a bit disorienting because the audacity of their deceit, even as me as a corporate guy, 30 years in corporate management and all, I'm well used to all kinds of shenanigans and politics and manipulation. But it took me a while to just get the breathtaking level of deceit. It's impressive. It's impressive. It's astonishing.
Yes, indeed.
And they get more brazen every day. And now
Yeah.
that they start to worry about files coming out, like what are we at, 1 to 2% of the available Epstein files in existence, but as
Whoa,
that stuff
sorry,
starts,
Blaine, is that it? Is that
yeah, that's
all
it.
that's been
That's
released?
it. Absolutely, that's it. You bet.
I heard that. I haven't seen.
Terabytes and terabytes and terabytes, my friend. And so as that starts and they get into a corner, because they all wonder, am I the sacrificial lamb? because they're going to offer up quite a few of them to go, oh, see, yeah, the Epstein thing got taken care of because Hillary got, Gitmoed, and now the world's all peaceful again. And the banksters can get back to what they were doing because we got 5 high profiles under wraps. And that should assuage the beast called we the people. But while that's unadjudicated by the bad guys, they're all going to wonder, well, I'm a Pritzker. Is it me? I'm a Clinton. Is it me? I'm a Soros. Are they going to give up Alex? So they're all. It's interesting because they're all squirming against each other in those realms. And again, I think I see another opportunity there while they start to machinate. And you can see that at the Munich Security Conference just 3 or 4 days ago when a bunch of circus clowns grabbed U.S. presidential politics and dragged it in the day before for a pep rally and made complete asses of themselves.
Sorry, Blaine,
this is who
you're
they
talking
have.
in code. I didn't watch the conference. So
What?
I'm sorry, Blaine. I've got a day job.
We're going to talk later.
I've got a day
We'll
job.
chalkboard this out later. So the Munich Security Conference, the what we should call Davos Part 2, came together, and something we shouldn't be doing is taking our domestic politics and dragging them into these forums, which Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez,
Yes.
now
I understand.
all those Fruit Loops got in there, and they showed how truly stupid they are. But you can see the city of London. This to me is an act of desperation that they would drag the clown show to this forum as a counterweight to basically Mark Rubio coming in and kicking everybody in the balls, and then they give them a standing ovation for it. So I think we should understand that all is not well in the enemy's camp.
Yeah. The enemy are transitioning.
Yeah, no, they're not. Not their kids.
No, it's a political transition. They're just confused which way to go. We got Clinton and AOC and Newsom, but at the same time, we're applauding Marco Rubio for promoting the American system of political economy. It's like, I don't know where I am now.
But what we need, of course, is disruption and civil war amongst the philanthropaths and the network. But it's funny, in Dubai, I think it was last year, I met Alex Craner. So I keep up to speed a lot just by watching all of Alex's stuff. He's a great pal. He's a great guy.
Yes.
But we were cautiously hopeful back then that there did seem to be a rumbling discontent and kind of a mini civil war amongst the oligarchies.
Right.
And we're kind of thinking, wow, more of that, please. And now Trump. And here's the big question that you will certainly have opinions on. And it's one of the last remaining debates amongst the international groups I'm in, the main one that people are not sure. So if we take the City of London and all the way from, the Milner Group, all the way right up to today, all the oligarchies working together, the bankster oligarchs, right? And they're ruining our world, clearly. WF, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, all the boys and girls. There's all of them, and now they're uncomfortable. And it does appear that Trump is beginning to say to them, hey, we're doing our own thing now. You globalist kind of droogs can bugger off. So the question is Trump truly creating a new USA, new oligarchy, whatever, Monroe too, and really screwing with them and messing them up? Or some paranoid people, more paranoid, should we say, would say, well, Trump is really with them secretly, and this is more of a show. What do you think?
Yeah, or has Trump decided he's picking new winners? So he doesn't have necessarily a huge problem with the way the system works. Is he just deciding that I'm going to pick new winners and we're going to have a thing called sovereignty again? And so I'm going to push your UN into the East River. I'm going to knock out your NATO or greatly reduce it. You can call them whatever you want. I could care less, but I'll put the peace board in. And we're going to get back to mercantilism and trade on a bilateral basis around the world. But then you should understand that I don't really plan on not being a billionaire for the rest of my life, or my children, or their children, or their children's children. So how much are we going to modify this? I don't know. But what I know right now is, from where we see this fight here in this country, it really is we the people versus they the global edition of the swamp or the city of London or whatever you want to call it. And Washington D.C. is merely just a regional headquarters for these people, and it runs like they want it to run. But what I think is unless we see Trump do like a complete 180, and in the next 30 to 60 days, there's this massive roundup of accountability. And suddenly, the most popular things to talk about in the country are, do you want a noose for them or a wood chipper? It just seems like such a waste of chemicals if we're going to give them a syringe. If we got to that place, we'll know that, oh no, man, he means it. He's going to knock down the entire thing. But is that really what's going to happen? I
Well,
don't know. And if he doesn't act swift enough, and this I'll finish here, then he will lose the midterms and the Democrats will impeach him. And then a year from now, we'll be in the technology oligarch era of the nation, which will be J.D. Vance and his creepy little friends at those creepy little companies.
yeah. And you know what, Blaine, though, as you described it just a minute ago, I'm kind of thinking, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Anything but
What's the
any,
alternative?
well, exactly. So if we've been absolutely brought to the brink of disaster and our families' cultures and histories being eradicated in front of us, and everything else that the network has done to us, if a new guy comes in and is going to kick them out, even if he still wants to stay a billionaire and have a new oligarchy, at least it gives us a respite. We can regather and try and keep the new oligarchy or Trump, etc., honest. But we get a break from the really bad guys who are proven historically to be the root of almost all evil.
Yes.
But I agree with you. My main concern has shifted now to Trump et al. Ending up getting scuppered because then it's just a disaster
Well,
in a
then
way.
it really is global, civil, revolutionary war, all of the
Mm,
above. Because this is the thing, this is another dangerous part. I don't think the highest levers of power in that world, Ivor, truly understand where people are on the snapping point continuum. They think they have control. They're on the verge of AI and robotics in their minds taking over our roles. That makes us redundant eaters in their words, and or useless eaters in their words. And I don't think they understand that the docile beast that is played by the rules, punched the time cards, raised their kids, tried to carve out a living, when those things are breaking down right in front of their eyes, I don't think they really truly understand when a mass consciousness arrives, for lack of a better term, and the people just snap and go kill them all. And I mean complete utter violence. I mean absolutely. And these people aren't military trained people. It won't be pretty professional violence where it's like mark target, yep, 1,000 meters. Give me the wind check again. Okay, boop, send it. It won't be that. It'll be like I saw in Kyrgyzstan with the revolution when I was the base commander there. They took the interior minister out of the car and they didn't just shoot him. They ripped his face off his skull and threw him in a prison cell.
mm,
So, in other words, when people break hard to that direction, it is swift, it is a firestorm, and it is something that reasonable people with combat experience and military experience can't talk the crowd into a calm place. So we all talk about, oh, we'll just form militias and we'll organize and it'll be great. And we'll have the neighborhood sergeant or the sheriff and we'll all just kind of get together and have a resistance. And it's like, I hate to tell you, that's not how chaos works.
mm. Yeah, and I'd agree, Blaine. The only thing or the concern I'd have, in Kyrgyzstan or whatever, you got pretty earthy people
You do?
in general.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. Look all across the West, we are soft as shite in
I know.
general. I
I
mean,
know.
so that's one problem is the people are so soft now that's a challenge to get a real revolution going, shall we say. The other thing, uh, what was the other key thing about it? Oh, yeah. I guess they're still banking on divide and conquer. That
Yes.
even if the people get really riled up and the
Right.
cauldron's bubbling over,
Right.
that they should still have enough control with AI censorship and control of media and to an
And
extent internet,
and
that
the
they'd be
zombie
able
army.
to, yeah, pitch them against each other. And
Exactly.
then when there's a big mess and there's a lot of violent clashes between one side and the other, then come in with the jackboot and say, look what's happening.
Yeah.
We need to bring in martial law. I mean,
Yeah.
look what
Right.
you abs
Right.
and you sheep and you cattle are doing. We got to
Yeah.
come in and bring
Do,
law back.
do you
And
know
then
what,
they'll be,
Ivor, what else I find charming is their idea that, oh, well, it's the United States where the gun problem exists. That problem
oh,
doesn't exist in Europe. And I just sit there and I've lived in Europe for 10 years. I'm laughing my ass off. It's like if you don't think an Irishman can get a hold of a gun that's going to throw 5.56 at you and that he's not sitting on 50,000 rounds immediately available, you're kidding yourself. So in other words, everybody thinks that if the US were to fall into utter chaos, balkanization, the dystopian thing, we'll see metal rounds, precious lead flying all over the place like mosquitoes. And I would say, oh, don't kid yourself about Australia and New Zealand and think you're just dealing with some very pleasant hippopotamuses who are grazing in the in the grasslands. It won't be that way.
yeah, it's just percent. I mean, the proportion of people with access obviously much smaller in Europe
Yeah,
compared to
true.
America. There's a lot, like in Ireland, there's plenty of, semi-automatic shotguns for
Yeah,
sport, for clay pigeon. There's rifles, but as a percentage of population compared to 40 years ago,
yeah.
it's on the lean side, I'd say.
The
But
worry,
you only need 3% for a revolution.
yeah. The worry is about the desperation on the enemy side, and when they decide to take things to the next level, and you have a population faced with some very dire choices. And so we saw this in Tahrir Square. What happened in Tahrir Square? Well, they couldn't feed themselves because after quantitative easing one, commodities went streaking off in the Richter scale. So if you're watching your kid die in your arms because of famine, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And and that changes psychologies. And this gets back to what we were talking about with the awakening. For those of us who have been awake for a while, who have experiences, we so need to help these folks who are getting smacked into reality, and we need to put our arms around them and go, hey, don't overreact here. It's gonna take a little it's gonna take a little time for you to get your legs, but we need to help them through that so we don't have those chaotic outcomes.
Yeah, awakening is so crucial. I mean, I'm happy-ish with the level of awakening that's occurred because in 22, Blaine,
I'm with you.
yeah, in 22, I was almost saying like just go to Argentina and just hide out. I mean, it was in
Yep.
22, it was bad. Like
Yeah.
after COVID, and they flipped all the cattle straight to Ukraine flags, and
Yep.
I'm just looking, thinking, I cannot believe how stupid people are, my
I
species.
know.
But since then, it's a lot better, and hence the massive push for censorship, digital
Yeah.
ID.
Yeah.
They're racing to the cliff edge, and so are the awake. It's the razor's edge now. It's all to play for. They reckon they
I
can
agree with
still
you.
pull off the thousand-year Reich,
Yep. I agree with you.
supercharged by yeah,
The word ish is so important here. I'm happy ish with the
yeah.
awakening. You
Ivor,
want to go, come on, little fellas, how about a few more of you?
You
Ivor,
know
you
that meme where they poke? There's a kind of
Yeah,
a crudely drawn
yeah.
character who says, "Come on,
I
do
love that
something."
meme. I love that meme. Come on, little fella, we gotta go.
Ivor, you're in Ireland. Are you saying that there's a greater awakening in Ireland? More and more people waking up to the trans, the importation of these massive numbers of migration, the dilution of traditional Irish culture and heritage.
Well, COVID and the vaccines, I would have expected it would wake more people, but it's been okay. There's a lot of people now, and even the medical professionals in Ireland, the take up of the COVID shot in the last, even a couple of years ago, collapsed. And even the flu shot, I believe, with medical people, they're trying to walk away from it. So there's a broad awakening. A lot of the somewhat awake people will not say anything because they do not have the courage to be called a conspiracy theorist still, but at least they vote with their feet and their choices. So I think that was okay. The migration has woken quite a few people. I mean, polls showed 80% saying the government needs to clamp down on migration. The government keeps bringing in mass migration in spite of the polls being 80% against it. So that's where we are. But there's a lot of tension on migration now. But I think a lot of the people who are waking up, the majority are probably not willing to talk about it at the water cooler, in the pub, and in the street. You know, we need people who are awake to begin to get the courage to speak openly, because I keep telling people in my pods, this is the most important thing and the most interesting thing in our lives.
Yes.
Right? This
Well
what we're
said.
talking about.
Well
And
said.
yet you want to keep talking about football and sport and movies?
Bread and
Like,
circuses.
bread and circuses, yeah, but come on, this stuff is a fascinating conversation. So people have been programmed that any conversation about the elite parasitic class or senior puppeticians above us being bad and not acting in our interest, people have been programmed to believe that any of that conversation about that kind of thing is conspiracy theorish. So the programming has worked very well, and it's holding people back. But I think it's beginning to crumble. And Epstein was fantastic because it gives us so much validation
Yes.
that all these things that were called conspiracy theories, oh, well, actually now the meme is true. It's only
Yes.
6 months between a conspiracy theory and a fact.
A conspiracy prophecy being realized.
Yeah.
And then I just got to say, Ivor, what you do, and Blaine, what you do, and what I do, and what everybody who's watching does is so important. We have to we have to wake people up. We have to open our mouths, because that's how we build alliances, and that's how we build a movement against these oligarchs that are out to destroy our livelihoods. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Please comment, let us know what you found useful, and how do you wake people up in your community. Blaine, Ivor, really appreciate this conversation. Look forward to having you back on again soon.
That'll do it, folks. Hopefully you feel more informed now. And in terms of being informed, I've been talking about silver and gold for a long time now, and things are getting pretty crazy as the fiat currencies finally begin to go over the cliff. So there's a free consultation with Pure Gold in London if you want to follow up and get the lowdown on what's really going on in this crucially important market. Till next time, from Bulgaria, stay safe.